Hello everyone, how are you doing this evening, afternoon, or morning, depending on where you are? My name is Mikhaila Valletta, also known as the Body Scientist, and in case you're unfamiliar with me, I am a sports nutritionist, exercise physiologist, and trainer with a background in exercise and sports science and nutrition, sports nutrition. I have a background in biology and biotechnology. And I've been working with clients for 20 plus years, helping them improve the function of their body. I have committed my life to studying all the ways that we can take our body to a higher level, its highest level. And I'm currently working on a Master of Science in Medical Cannabis Science and Therapeutics, okay? So with that being said, and some of you have been following my work for a while, some of you haven't. So if you're new, welcome. I'm live on my IG page. I will save this video and repost it to my YouTube page. So be sure to follow me in both places because I don't always post the same thing in both places. So today I want to talk about plants, okay? I want to talk about how toxic plant foods can actually be. Of course, we've all heard about plant-based diets. You know, that's been the rave for like the past 20 years, especially. Maybe prior to that, but I feel like it's become extremely common in the last 20 years. And, I've always thought critically and done research and didn't want to just jump on bandwagons. When it comes to health, in my body, what I do to my body and what I recommend to my clients, I always took what I do very seriously. I never wanted someone to come to me to improve their body and their health, and they got worse. And my health and body also matters a lot to me. So I've always thoroughly researched and thought critically, right? And researched from many perspectives and used my critical thinking skills, which a lot of people lack, right? Also, nutrition is a science. It's a science that a lot of people don't respect. I feel like most people don't respect it. Nurses, doctors, trainers, regular people, everybody thinks they know about nutrition. Everybody thinks they're a nutrition expert, okay? And when I work with people and someone tells me that they eat well, right? It doesn't mean anything to me when someone tells me they eat well unless I have done a thorough evaluation of their eating habits. And 99% of the time, I don't agree that they eat well, right? People are getting their information. There's a lot of nutrition propaganda, which is why, I've committed my life to not just studying all the ways that we could take our body to its highest level. Not just studying all the ways that we could take our body to its highest level, but also educating people, educating those who want to know, okay? I put out a certain amount of free content, but I'm always there ready. I'm always available to work with people one-on-one. Okay, so science, okay? Let's get into plants. Now, for those of you who've been following my work, you've been hearing me say for a long time that plant foods don't have a lot of nutrition and they're not easy to digest, okay? But it's even deeper than what you think, all right? So plants, despite what a lot of vegans and the people who push the vegan propaganda, they want to say things like, well, I don't want to kill a living thing to eat. And they talk about, eating alive foods as if like you eat animal foods and they're dead and plant foods are alive. But you have to be somewhat of a special kind of idiot to believe that, okay? Because basic biology, if you know anything about life on Earth, okay, we should all know that plants are living creatures too, okay? Plants are living organisms. You have animals, plants, and microorganisms, bacteria, okay? They're living organisms, all right? And living organisms protect themselves. And plants secrete and create many different toxins that are toxic to humans and other animals to prevent us from eating them, okay? So Brussels sprouts alone have 136 identified carcinogens in them. Now, carcinogens are things that mutate your genes to cause cancer. That's what carcinogens are. So Brussels sprouts has over 135 carcinogens in them. And there's not one plant that we eat that has less than 60 known carcinogens in it, naturally occurring, okay, that the plant is creating to protect itself, to prevent from being eaten, okay? Most plants will kill most animals, okay? Like certain animals can only eat certain plants. Like there are certain animals that only eat a specific kind of leaf. Not all leaves, a specific kind of leaf. There's certain animals that eat certain grasses. Not all grasses, just certain grasses, okay? And if they deviate from that, it will kill them. You have humans over here drinking wheatgrass juice. I remember, like, I don't know how many years ago, maybe like 16 years ago now, I remember there used to be this juice bar in Harlem called Raw Soul. Everybody in there was a raw vegan. They all looked sickly and devoid of life. And I remember going in there because I used to think juices was good back then. Now I only drink juice on a hot day like today, like I'm hot as hell and I'm sweating. But I'm not really a juice drinker. Juice is not a health food that people think. But I remember taking wheatgrass shots back then, right? Thinking that it was healthy, which it's not. And I remember one day they made me a little bit too much of this wheatgrass shot, and I took a little bit extra because they made extra, and it made me feel so sick, okay? I never consumed that again, and I was for sure from that point on that we should not be drinking wheatgrass. Now, if you think about it, as humans, we can't digest grass. If you try to go eat some grass, if you don't believe me, go try to eat some grass and see how sick you get. We can't digest grass. So when the vegan community has all this propaganda about, oh, well, the cows eat grass and they get this from it, but we're not cows, okay? I have a background in biology, science, all right? Biology, the study of all living things. All organisms have a different digestive system. It doesn't matter what cows eat. We're not cows. Cows have two stomachs. They have a totally different digestive system in order to be able to digest grass. They throw it up and eat it again, okay? There are several plants. You know, my dad's from Florida, and he'll be walking around New York, like in the parks, and he talks about the certain edible berries that are growing that most people don't know are edible. But when it comes, as humans, when it comes to plants, you can't just be eating any kind of plants because a lot of them will poison you and kill you, okay? And this is also true for other animals. Most plants will kill most animals. Don't forget that. Animals have co-evolved with plants, okay? And they're symbiotic. So, for example, you got the bees that are pollinating the flowers. You have certain berries that are super poisonous to us, okay? But there's certain birds that will eat them because when the birds eat them, it germinates the seeds and then allows that plant to keep thriving. But without those birds, those plants could not go on, right? So the animals are playing a role. Plants and animals, you know, interact with each other. We're symbiotic. Just like I talk about, you know, a lot of you don't know I'm a dancer. I'm a serious student of dances of the African diaspora, particularly in the Americas. But what do you see? You see drums that are made from wood, okay, plant, with animal skin, animal, okay? You don't see drums made from 100% animals or 100% plants, okay? It's the plant and the animals, the symbiotic relationship. So in 1989, okay, there was a scientist from Berkeley who did a study where he found that natural plants and vegetables have 10 times more naturally occurring pesticides, okay, by weight than the natural pesticides we are using on them, all right? And they're several times more likely to cause cancer, all right? Several times more likely to cause cancer than the industrial ones. And I didn't mean to say 10 times. I meant to say 10,000, okay? 10,000, not 10 times. I meant to say 10,000. 10,000 times, okay? So let me say that again. In 1999, a scientist from Berkeley, okay, published a paper in which he stated and showed that natural plants and vegetables, okay, have 10,000 times more naturally occurring carcinogens in them than as compared to the commercially used pesticides that are on them, okay? So the commercially used pesticides is 10,000 times less than the naturally occurring pesticides and carcinogens that are already in the plants, okay? Well, they're pesticides, sorry. 10,000 times, naturally occurring, 10,000 times the amount of naturally occurring pesticides in the plant, okay? Some of those pesticides could be carcinogens, some of them could be other kind of toxins, okay? So when we look at the plants that we buy from the supermarket, like the common crops that we consume, there's at least, okay, no less than an average of 42 toxins, okay, in plants that we buy in the supermarket every day, and at least 20 of them are known to be carcinogens to mice. And in studies, a lot of times what causes damage in mice causes damage in humans too, okay? The World Health Organization, okay? The World Health Organization, even, like a lot of these governmental agencies don't tell us the truth about stuff. Or stuff is out there, but it's kind of hidden in the sense that most people don't look for it, okay? Most people don't read research. I've been saying this for a couple decades, but most people don't have the scientific background to read the research. So even if you read a lot of the research I read, you might have a hard time understanding it if you never took biochemistry or microbiology or physiology and stuff like that. You might, maybe understand it a bit. It might be a little bit of a struggle. But those of us who do have a background in the health sciences, who went to school for various things, most practitioners and scientists even, but especially the practitioners, the nurses, the doctors, the trainers, which a lot of trainers didn't go to school, but even if they did, nutrition, people that have degrees in nutrition have been seriously indoctrinated and brainwashed. And most people don't go outside of what they learned in school and go do their own research. Like, to me, I always say school gave me the scientific background to be able to evaluate studies, to read studies and evaluate them and think for myself. Critical thinking was something that was always stressed in my life, from my dad, my upbringing from my dad, to the New York City public schools that I went to that stressed, critical thinking, looking at primary documents and artifacts in history and thinking like a historian instead of looking at textbooks, okay? They were totally anti-textbooks. So this is something that most people don't have. Most people don't read, first of all, okay? I feel like most people's houses I go to, they have no books. And if they do, it's about bullshit. Most people don't read, let alone research, okay? And then you add critical thinking to the mix. Yeah, no, okay? So for me, the things that when you see me speak about things, this is coming from over 20 years of studying, okay? I graduated college 20 years ago in 2003. And I didn't start knowing things in 2003. I started when I was in high school in the 90s, understanding why I shouldn't be using hand sanitizer, why it destroys your microbiome on your skin. Ever since 97, I've thought hand sanitizer needs to be illegal because it's actually contributing to the superbugs and infectious diseases on the planet, okay? And I would never use artificial, like the other day, a friend of mine, like I had my nail broke off when I was doing something. It was bleeding. I need to put a Band-Aid on it. A friend of mine got me a Band-Aid from the store. The Band-Aids had antibacterial stuff on it. I didn't use them, okay? I don't use antibacterial soaps, hand sanitizers, unless it's made from natural stuff, because coconut oil is naturally antibacterial. Aloe is naturally antibacterial, things like that. But there are a lot of naturally antibacterial things, garlic, tea tree oil, oregano. But when you use the commercial antibacterial soaps and hand sanitizers, they're using the artificial ones, which are not just toxic and poisonous to us, they destroy our microbiome. I'm not going to get super into that because I have several videos where I talk about that. But basically, we have bacteria all over everything, all over our skin, in our gut, in the vagina, and we have good bacteria and bad bacteria. We need the good bacteria to fight against infectious organisms. Good bacteria are our first line of defense against infectious organisms, okay? And the good bacteria and the bad bacteria are always in a fight. So I have videos where I speak about that. I won't get super in depth with that now, but using antibiotics, eating foods with herbicides, pesticides, antibiotics, using the antibacterial hand sanitizer, ointments that they give you, all of that stuff destroys your microbiome. And remember, your skin is a part of your immune system, okay? Our skin is our largest organ in our body, and it's a part of our immune system. It protects what comes in and out of our body. So the health of your skin and what you put on your skin is really important, okay? Hence, I don't have any tattoos. It feels like the whole world got tattoos. But have you researched tattoo ink? Have you researched the layer of your skin that they're putting that tattoo ink in and the possible consequences? A lot of people don't think long term about their health. They don't. And then later on when they get something, they're like, oh, how'd that person get this? I'm shocked that this person has pancreatic cancer. There's a reason for everything. Trust and believe. Nobody gets cancer or any other chronic disease for no reason. Nobody. And the thing is that a lot of people have been believing propaganda, okay? Let me continue. So the World Health Organization, okay, has a page that talks about all the natural toxins found in foods, right? But all the foods in the list are plant foods except There are certain seafood that get toxins from eating certain poisonous algae. And if we eat those shellfish or that particular seafood that's been eating that poisonous algae, then we can also get poisoned by it. And you can avoid that by avoiding seafood that come from those regions. But other than that, everything else on that list was plant foods, okay? And in plant foods, you have toxins like cyanide, okay? A lot of them secrete cyanide, mycotoxins, lectins, coumarins, oxalates, selenines, okay? These are all, and there's several other toxins, serious toxins that are in plants. Now, nightshades have been known for hundreds of years to not be good, okay? And the thing with nightshades, potatoes, tomatoes, when they weren't eaten, they were prepared properly. Most of the time, they're eaten by populations who were really poor and couldn't afford meat or something else. Think potato famine, right? But they were also prepared a certain way, like taking the skin off the potatoes or getting the seeds out the tomatoes to eliminate those toxins, okay? Mushrooms, okay? And I love mushrooms, but there's over 10,000 kinds of mushrooms, and only about 5 of them aren't either poisonous to us or going to cause us to hallucinate and trip. Medicine, okay? There's only about 5 of them that we can actually consume, all right? And so acute poisoning from plants, okay, acute issues can be stomach upset, allergies, and death, okay? Long-term effects from eating too many plant toxins can be immune issues, reproductive issues, nervous system issues, and cancer, all right? All these toxins do damage to the mitochondria. And the damaged mitochondria also really contributes to cancer. Okay, that's a really, really important thing. Lectins, okay, lectins are something that are found in plants that are also very toxic. There are some lectins found in meat, but they don't seem to cause any harm. Now, the thing with lectins, okay, they bind, they're proteins, and they bind to the carbs on the surface of our cells, the carbohydrate receptors on the surface of our cells. Lectins can bind to insulin receptors and cause serious issues with insulin, okay? They can also bind to cells in our gastrointestinal tract, okay, in our GI tract, and cause leaks in our the gut. We have these tight junctions in our gut, okay? The tight junctions, or the cells in our intestinal lining, there are tight junctions which arachidonic acid is critical for these tight junctions. And arachidonic acid is a fat that is only found in animals, okay? Arachidonic acid is found in butter, it's found in tallow, it's found in meat and eggs, it's found in raw milk, okay? And it's essential for the tight junction. And arachidonic acid is what our endocannabinoids are made from, okay? Endocannabinoids, our body produces cannabinoids. You have cannabinoids in the cannabis plant, those are phytocannabinoids, but our body produces cannabinoids. Why does our body produce cannabinoids? Because we have cannabinoid receptors all over every organ of our body. And we have an endocannabinoid system, okay? Just like we have a respiratory system, a circulatory system, an immune system, a lymphatic system, a respiratory system, a reproductive system, a circulatory system, right? We also have a digestive system. We also have, I think I said immune system. We also have an endocannabinoid system. And the endocannabinoid system regulates all the other systems, which is why cannabis, there's so many applications for cannabis, okay, for such a variety of health problems, almost all of them, because of the endocannabinoid system. But our body produces endocannabinoids, and our body produces them on demand. And endocannabinoids are produced from arachidonic acid, okay? There are certain disease states now that health professionals are believing these diseases are due to endocannabinoid deficiencies. Well, why would somebody have an endocannabinoid deficiency? Perhaps because they're not eating enough arachidonic acid to make it. Then there are minor cannabinoids made from long-chain omega-3 fats, which are only in animal foods, okay? Plant foods have omega-3, but not the long-chain ones, okay, that we need for that. So there was a study in 2015 in Denmark, okay, where, because lectins are also associated with Parkinson's disease, okay, what it does to the vagus nerve, and it has been implicated in Parkinson's disease. There was a study in 2015 done in Denmark where there was a 67% reduction in Parkinson's disease when removing lectins from the diet, okay? Wheat germ and gluten are also lectins, okay? You have people who think that wheat germ is healthy and they're putting it in their shakes. It's not. Gluten is also really not healthy, and people consume a lot of that, eating bread and wheat and stuff like that. Wheat germ and gluten are lectins, and they bind to the carbohydrate surface antigens in our enterocytes, okay, which are the enterocytes are the cells in our gut lining, okay, and they destroy the gut lining, and again, they destroy the tight junctions in our gut. 70% of our immune system is in our gut, okay? Gut health is something I've also been talking about for 20 years. I've been talking about probiotics, okay? Most people don't eat fermented foods. You should be eating fermented foods. Like, I eat fermented dairy, okay? So, like, I need to post some of my shakes up here. I consume raw milk. I've been making shakes with, lately, I mix up the recipes in my shakes, but raw milk is always consistent. I'm in New York right now. I'll get my raw milk delivered from a farm. I was just in Philly. There's raw milk everywhere in Philly because of the Amish. I get raw milk in Chicago from Amish market run by Ukrainians. In California, raw milk is everywhere. In Connecticut, which is right by where I'm at in New York, raw milk is everywhere. Pennsylvania, I said Philly, but I was in the Poconos yesterday. There's raw milk farms all around, right? Raw milk is illegal in Canada, though. People in Toronto and Montreal got to drive over to New York and Vermont and shit to get their raw milk. But I consume, lately, been making a shake with raw milk, which has a lot of good probiotics. Also has butyric acid and arachidonic acid. Butyric acid is also critical for your gut health. Butyric acid feeds the good bacteria in your gut. So anybody with gut issues, butyric acid and arachidonic acid, very important, very high in dairy. So I've been putting Greek yogurt, raw Greek yogurt from the farm. I get kefir. Kefir is even more medicinal than yogurt when it comes to the probiotics. And getting the raw kefir that I get from the farm is super medicinal. So I'm making the shake. I put raw milk, raw yogurt, raw Greek yogurt, raw kefir, and a little bit of fruit. You know, the plant foods are not necessities. They are to make the meals more interesting. Seasoning, spices, right? But plant foods should be kept at a minimum. Okay. They're not the most nutritious thing, and you don't need them, okay? So when people, this whole thing telling kids eat your vegetables, and most kids don't want to eat their vegetables because kids don't need vegetables. Babies and kids have first of all, up until a certain age, it's hard for babies, to even digest vegetables. They're very hard to digest plant foods, period. We don't have the cellulase enzyme, which you need to digest cellulose. People think that fiber is good for you. It's not, okay? Because fiber prevents you from absorbing nutrients from your food, like Ozempic, okay? But fiber just makes the stuff go right through you, so you don't even absorb any nutrients from your food. So there's nothing good about eating fiber. And if you look at any long-living societies, they don't eat fiber, okay? They're not, the Maasai in Africa live off of raw cow's milk and raw blood. Okay, people are not sitting around eating tons of fiber. People always say Americans don't eat that many vegetables, but I don't know if you guys travel, because I've traveled a lot. I haven't been everywhere, but I've been a lot of places, and people in America eat more vegetables than they do anywhere else. They don't eat a lot of vegetables in the Caribbean, okay? They eat starches, but they don't eat a lot of vegetables. They don't eat a lot of vegetables in South America. They don't eat a lot of vegetables in Europe, okay? Like, an American meal, a typical American meal, we have like meat or fish with a vegetable and a starch. That's how American meals are, and that's what I'm used to. But I remember when I was in Paris, going into really nice restaurants, they give you chicken and mashed potatoes. There was no vegetable, okay? And in the United States, nobody would ever serve a meal of chicken and mashed potatoes without putting a vegetable on the plate. So if you actually travel around the world and observe, you'll notice we eat more vegetables than most people, okay? But the vegetables are really just things like, I believe in herbal medicine, but you're using herbs, you're using small amounts, and you're using herbs in certain ways. Usually when herbal medicine is practiced, the herbs aren't eaten. They're smoked, they're consumed as a tea. You might bathe in them, steam with them, make a topical to apply it topically, scrub your skin with them, okay, when you're using herbs for medicine, all right? So, lectins are also implicated in autoimmune diseases, okay? And it has been demonstrated since the 1800s. The 1800s, okay? There were studies that were done in the 1800s that found that people who stopped eating plants, okay, and just ate meat and water, we're reversing all sorts of diseases. So, you know, and this is the reason why, like when I started studying nutrition, I remember thinking to myself, if nothing else, I'm so thankful to be learning about nutrition science, because this is something that I can use to help myself and my family for the rest of my life. Because if you're really into disease prevention, it all starts with nutrition, okay? If you really want to understand how the body works, and if you really want to understand how to maintain and achieve optimal health, you have to study nutrition. Of course, you know, I also told you I have a background in exercise physiology and sports science. That's also important. What you do with your body, you know, that's also important. But, you know, that foundational layer of what you're actually eating is everything. Because every disease really is either a nutritional toxicity or nutritional deficiency. And you know who doesn't learn about that? Doctors, okay? So they'll never think that, you know. You have hypertension, you should increase your vitamin D. This person has hypertension. Let's see where their vitamin D levels are. Let's see if they're chronically dehydrated. Because people who have hypertension are usually chronically dehydrated. And that has nothing to do with reducing salt, but everything to do with consuming a lot more potassium, not water. Because a lot of people think, oh, I'm dehydrated, I need to drink more water. No, you don't. Dehydration is not simply about water. It's really not about water at all, actually. Okay? Hydration is about your electrolyte levels and your blood sugar levels, okay? If you pass out from dehydration and you go to the hospital, they don't give you water to drink. They give you a saline fluid. And the saline fluid has carbohydrates in it, potassium, sodium, stuff like that. And that's what you need, okay? I don't drink water when I go to the gym, none of that, all right? And the thing is that it's so stressed to pregnant mothers, to mothers of young children and fathers to consume all these vegetables. And most kids don't want the damn vegetables. Kids' stomachs are really small. And they have an extreme need for nutrition because they're growing and developing. You know, as grown people, if you want to experiment with your diet and eat a bunch of, you know, kale salad, you know, and I still don't think it's good. But to do that to children is child abuse, because children have very small stomachs and they have a huge need. You know, their need for grams of protein per kilogram of body weight or pound of body weight is way greater, okay, than it is for adults, because they're growing and developing. Their requirements for cholesterol, because our hormones are made from cholesterol, okay? Your sex hormones are made from cholesterol. The estrogen, progesterone, estrogen. Your stress hormones are made from cholesterol. Vitamin D is made from cholesterol. So you can try to get sun on your skin all day, all day, all day. If you're not consuming cholesterol, you can't even synthesize vitamin D, okay? Vitamin D is actually a hormone that's made from cholesterol. Cholesterol is essential for brain health and hormone health and the health of your gut, period, okay? So this whole idea that cholesterol causes heart attacks is a complete lie. And they want to put you on statin drugs to lower your cholesterol. You know what that does? It makes people depressed, makes them crazy, makes men have erection problems, okay? Cholesterol is extremely important. All right. And then, you know, with kids, it's like a lot of them would love to eat cheese. You know what I'm saying? Love to eat some bacon. You know, love to eat some, but the plant foods, no. You know what I'm saying? It's really not a good thing. And especially not cereal, okay? There's no such thing as a healthy cereal, okay? Cereals are super toxic. They are highly processed, extruded grains that become more toxic. And the studies on cereal show that if you want to die sooner than you should, and you don't care about having lesions on your brain and all kinds of other issues, then eat cereal. Okay, I don't care if you're eating Wheaties or wheat, whatever. All that shit is garbage and poison. Okay, kids shouldn't be eating cereal. Adults shouldn't be eating cereal. And when it comes to your health, what you don't know can hurt you. Okay, and as parents, you know, your children are at your mercy. So if your children grow up and they have certain health problems, it's the parents, okay? Now, granted, a lot of the parents are being misled, which is criminal, because there are some parents who think they're doing the best they can, but they're listening to propaganda. There's a lot of parents who just are feeding their kids whatever. They're not even seeking out information, you know, to really know what's good or not. And their kid has allergies, their kid has this problem, that problem. They grew up, they got this and that wrong with them. So as parents, you know, your children are at your mercy. You're responsible for nourishing them. So it's really important to, like, care, you know, and look into this stuff, but I feel like most people don't. And again, there's still a lot of misinformation because a lot of people are getting information from their doctors. Remember, doctors are not nutritionists. And remember, most nutritionists have also been brainwashed and indoctrinated by school. Okay, that's just a fact. There are nutritionists, there are doctors who do know the truth and speak the truth, and you'll see me post them. You'll see me post them all the time on my Instagram page, so you can follow them, because you might just be hearing me say this and you think I'm the only one that's saying these things. I'm not. But let me just make it clear that, and this is the reason why I've been conflicted about being a scientist. I used to want to be a scientist, and I left my first graduate program. My first graduate program was in applied physiology and nutrition at Columbia University. And it was the only nutrition program in the country that didn't take money from the food industry. And so, they made me aware of a lot of things. But every other nutrition program in this country is funded by the food companies, just like all the medical programs are funded by the pharmaceutical companies. And guess what? The pharmaceutical companies and the food companies are the same people. So a lot of people have been indoctrinated. And like I said, most of the people like myself who've been given the scientific background to go do our own research don't. Okay? And if people have a license, like I don't work in a hospital, I'm not bound to the ADA. But the people who are, they don't want to go against them because they don't want to lose their license. A lot of people aren't built to work for themselves. They spent money on these degrees. They don't want to lose their license, so they go along with the okie doke. And I'm just not built for that, which is why I do my own thing, right? So chewing almonds, okay. Almonds and cassava, okay? When you chew almonds or you chew cassava, they actually release cyanide, all right, to try to protect themselves. And cassava is eaten a lot in the tropics, all right, and around the world. Long-term exposure to low-grade cyanide can cause a whole lot of problems. And, there are certain plants, like there's I think a bitter cassava and a sweet one. The bitter one will kill you, I think, instantly. It's like ackee in Jamaica. If you don't know how to pick and prepare ackee, it can kill you, be very poisonous. There's a lot of plants like that, okay? You have oxalates in plants, right? Oxalates are in a lot of plant foods, and they are anti-nutrients. Plants have a lot of anti-nutrients. Anti-nutrients are things that bind onto nutrients and pull them out your system. So oxalates bind to calcium and magnesium, and they pull them out your system. They chelate them out your system, all right? Oxalates, I've been coming across a lot of research about breast cancer and oxalates, and that all breast cancer tissue has been found to be full of oxalates, okay? And these things, again, they're from plant foods. Oxalates are known to destroy your joints and cause all kinds of issues. But most of the things that you'll find about oxalates is just about kidney stones, because that's what they focus the research on. But first of all, when it comes to research, it's also look internationally. I've never been someone who just stayed in the United States or just looked at black people or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You look at international research, and there's a lot of research about the toxic nature of oxalates. And spinach is one of the plants that's highest in oxalates. You have people eating spinach salad and putting spinach in their smoothies, making a green smoothie. It's not good for you, okay? And who in the world does that? Like with Anthony Bourdain, Parts Unknown, I love that show. He wasn't talking about health and like traditional foods in that way, but everywhere he went, a lot of people served him traditional foods, and nobody gave him a salad. Nobody gave him a spinach smoothie. They didn't. But you know what they did? People were making blood sausage. They were making organ meats. They were eating raw eggs. Okay, that's what people were eating. And so we have oxalates, okay, which a lot of people have a magnesium problem, so those are really bad, okay. Then there are tannins, okay, they block digestive enzymes, okay. So like tannins are in coffee and tea, and I'm a tea drinker. I used to drink coffee. I don't drink coffee anymore, but I do drink yerba mate tea every day or matcha, and I can't drink that caffeinated tea with food. I don't know how people be drinking coffee and eating food, because it does stop your digestion, right? So yeah, tannins block your digestive enzymes, and they can cause kidney damage at high enough levels. Then there's a study that showed that seed oils, you guys know I talk about seed oils all the time. Seed oils, which the commercial food industry and regular people call vegetable oils, right? But they're not from vegetables, okay? Canola oil, soybean oil, corn oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil. None of those are from vegetables. They're from seeds. They're seed oils, okay? Then you have fruit oils like avocado oil, coconut oil. Those aren't from vegetables either. They're from olive oil. Those are all fruit, okay? So what vegetable oil are people talking about? But anyhow, I said coconut, avocado, olive. Those are fruit oils. Palm oil, okay? Fruit oils. So the seed oils, okay, are highly inflammatory, okay, highly carcinogenic, which means causing cancer, causing inflammation, causing every problem that you could think of. Those are the ones that cause heart attacks. Is the seed oils, not the animal fats, not the butter, not the bacon fat, not the beef fat. No, it is the seed oils that cause inflammation. And so there was a study that was done years ago where they found, scientists, practitioners, whatever, found that giving seed oils to people who had gotten different transplants, it helped them be able to retain those transplants because it suppresses your immune system. However, it was giving people cancer, okay? So they had to stop giving it to them because it was giving them cancer, okay? So seed oils are highly carcinogenic, okay? I avoid them like the plague, which is why I don't like eating out a lot. And it can be hard because I travel a lot. But I don't like eating out a lot because most people are going to cook in canola oil. And they're going to, a lot of restaurants, they're frying their fish in canola oil and their french fries. That shit is really toxic. And if I eat out a couple days in a row, I don't feel good. Like, there are times where I have to revive myself. And I do that by making a buttery meal. I'll make a meal that is saturated in butter. Like some shrimp scampi with a whole bunch of buttery, creamy sauce. Or I'll make some scallops with a lot of butter and creamy sauce. Or some salmon with a whole bunch of butter, creamy sauce. And to revive myself out of, eating out, even if it's a nice restaurant. A lot of times they're using canola oil, okay? Because people think that that's healthy. McDonald's used to use tallow to fry their french fries until the animal rights people started protesting, and then they started using canola oil, okay? Tallow is good for you. Tallow is stable enough to fry in. Tallow is high in vitamins A and D. Tallow is high in arachidonic acid, which we need, like I said, for our gut and our skin health. Arachidonic acid is responsible for keeping the tight junctions in our skin and our gut. And our skin and our gut health and our skin health is completely connected, okay? People who are having skin issues, they're having gut issues. Trust and believe that, okay? So there's also a lot of hormone disruptors in plants, okay? So we have the phytoestrogens, right? And people, there are people who, let's say they have breast cancer, they have fibroids, and they'll be like, oh, my doctor told me, not to eat meat because of the estrogen, right? So let's deal with facts, okay, and let's deal with numbers. So people can get meat that's not from the commercial food industry, right? Where they didn't give those animals hormones, but in a hormone treated cow, okay, in a hormone treated cow, one who was given hormones, there are 3.9. Okay, listen to these numbers. 3.9 nanograms per 3 ounces of red meat of estrogen, okay? So this is a hormone-treated cow. 3 ounces of meat from a hormone-treated cow has 3.9 nanograms of estrogen. However, soy, in 3 ounces of soy, there's over 1 million, okay? 1 million, okay? 1 million nanograms of estrogen, okay? And then birth control pills have about 35,000 nanograms, okay? 35. So the birth control pills got 35,000, but the soybeans got over 1 million. And the hormone-treated cow meat got 3.5 nanograms. So you're going to stop eating meat, even if it's a hormone-treated meat, which I try to avoid. I get my grass-fed stuff from the farm. But you're going to avoid eating that and eat soy burgers because of estrogen and get 1 million times more over than you would if you ate some hormone-treated beef. Soy has been shown to reduce fertility and lessen sperm count as well, okay? And sperm counts and testosterone in men has been on a serious decline over the past few decades. Someone says coconut olive oil better with real butter and tallow. Hold on, wait. Oh, you says cooking with coconut oil, olive oil better with real butter and tallow being the best. Okay. Good question. I have a video about what oils you should cook with. So Saturated fats are the most stable when it comes to heat, light, and air being applied to them. I have a few videos where I explain this, and I'll try to explain it quickly now, right? So saturated fats are the most stable when heat, light, and air are applied to them, right? So that when you're cooking, there's heat being applied, there's light being applied, and air being applied, right? Same thing with the skin, okay? What I have on my skin right now, what I have on my skin has cocoa butter, that's a saturated fat. Ghee, that's a saturated fat. I mean, the animal fats, they have some unsaturated fats. They're a mixture, but let's say it's mostly saturated fat, right? So ghee is mostly saturated fat. I have palm oil in my mixture that I put on. Palm oil, saturated fat. I have a little bit of castor oil, which is like a monounsaturated, and a little bit of lanolin, which is really not fat, but it's like a waxy cholesterol thing. So that's what I have on my skin, okay? Heat is hot as hell where I'm at right now, if you can't tell. So heat is being exposed. If I go out in the sun, light is on it, or even just the light from standing in the window. And then air, okay? Air is being exposed to it, right? So same thing with cooking. Saturated fat is the most stable when heat, light, and air are applied to it. So cooking with coconut oil is good. Cooking with ghee, tallow, lard. Lard has a lot of monounsaturated fat too, which is oleic acid. Oleic acid is actually what's in olive oil. Olive oil is high in oleic acid, but so is lard. But lard has a little bit of saturated fat too, and lard has vitamin A and vitamin D, whereas olive oil does not have vitamin A and vitamin D, right? And I don't cook with olive oil. Only time I cook with olive oil is if I combine it with butter, okay? To make it more stable. Otherwise, olive oil is just better to add on room temperature. But tallow is great to cook with. Coconut oil is good to cook with. I don't really prefer the taste of coconut oil, but you can definitely cook with it. And like if I'm going to fry, I would fry in ghee, lard, or tallow. Like if I'm going to fry French fries, I'm going to use ghee, lard, or tallow. If I'm going to fry, I fry my fish in ghee. I fry chicken in duck fat. Okay, duck fat is also really good. Black Americans traditionally fried chicken in lard. Okay. But the commercial food industry came and said, oh, don't eat lard, eat Crisco. Crisco was some bullshit they made to be artificial lard. It is absolutely poison. They said, oh, and then they did these campaigns. They said, don't eat butter, eat margarine, okay? So the things that people have been eating in your family for generations, been eating lard, been eating butter, and been living to 95, 100 years old, okay? Trust and believe. Okay, hopefully you guys can hear me. Somebody called me and interrupted the call. But if you have anybody in your family who's 98, 99 years old, what were they eating? I bet you they're eating butter and pork chops and bacon. I bet you. So, for those of you who are listening, if you do have anybody in your family who lived to be 98 or in the range of 98, okay, and older, please tell me where they're from and what were they eating. Please tell me, were they eating bacon? Were they eating pork chops? Were they eating steak? Were they eating eggs? Were they eating butter? Or were they eating salad all the time and drinking green juice? Please tell me. Someone's asked me about black seed oil. I have to look up black seed oil. Black seed oil is not something I've really researched or spent time on. So I would need to look up black seed oil. I don't use black seed oil. Okay, so I talked about the soy. Oh yeah. And I talked about the fiber. Oh, okay. 80% of the protein in wheat we can't digest. Yeah, butter's great for you. And it tastes great, right? And 80% of protein in wheat is gluten, which we can't digest. And the rest of it is blocked by protease inhibitors. And the wheat protease inhibitors increases inflammation in the body, okay? I talked about fiber. You know, it won't break down. It prevents you from absorbing nutrients. Then you have something called coumarins, which is in celery and lemons. And they can make you photosensitive if it gets on your skin. And So it's been known that people who are picking celery, a lot of times they get these burns on them from picking celery in the sun. All right, this happens. These are coumarins, again, plants secreting them for protection. We got, nightshades, which I already mentioned. And yeah, so somebody said my grandfather still works every day. Hold on. I can't see. I'll see when it comes up. But yeah, please share stories about people in your family. Anybody that lived to be around 100, and please tell me what they ate, okay? Chronic disease is a serious problem. And if you look at people in the 70s and the 60s, before they were preaching this low-fat diet to everybody and telling everybody, don't eat fat, don't eat cholesterol, don't eat red meat, don't eat eggs, everybody was thin. There was no obesity problem. People have steadily been getting sicker. And I always talk about these children, okay? These children now are so freaking sickly. They all have something wrong with them. First, 20 years ago, they were talking about childhood obesity. Now, childhood obesity it's childhood everything. They got allergies. They got autism. They can't eat this. They can't eat that. They got attention problems. They got autoimmune issues. That's not normal. Absolutely not normal. And then I'm looking at a lot of these people, these teenagers and people in their early 20s, who they don't look like they finished puberty. They look like they didn't have enough vitamin A. Now, I did a video in other things. And I did a video recently, talking about how heart disease is the leading cause. Sudden cardiac death is the leading cause of death for young people. Okay, the leading cause of death. I did a video talking about why that is. There's absolutely no way that that doesn't have to do with nutrition. And people experimenting with these plant-based diets, like, please show me a society on this planet where they have successfully reproduced healthy offspring for generations on a plant-based diet. Please show me. Show me 3. You can't even show me 1, but show me 3. Just to prove yourself. Show me 3. Now, somebody said, my grandfather still works every day and grew up on a farm eating animal foods. Thank you for sharing that. How old is your grandfather? Okay. I bet you he's older than that fraud, Sabi. I talk about Sabi all the time. That man was a fraud, okay? First of all, people have to learn how to observe the obvious and work on their critical thinking skills, okay? Especially a lot of black people. A lot of black people will jump on the bandwagon because somebody calls himself Afrocentric and throws in a dashiki. But you guys obviously don't talk to Africans, because if you speak to Africans about what they eat a whole bunch of animal foods. They eat a whole bunch of organ meats. They're not sitting around following Sabi's diet. And when I speak to a lot of my African friends, their grandparents, they're like in their 90s and they're still doing physical labor. Okay? So, like, come on. Let's stop with the propaganda. Animal foods, you don't need plant foods for anything, okay? Vitamin C, you know what? Liver is like 100 times higher in vitamin C than the most potent plant. The liver. And liver was something that everybody ate. Oh, somebody said, this is deep. My grandma lived until 95, and she ate bacon and pork chops. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Every time they interview the oldest person in the world, the oldest person in Haiti, the oldest person and lots of liver and onions, yes. They interview the oldest person in America who lives in South Carolina. First of all, you already know where they live. You know if somebody's 110 in Haiti or Puerto Rico or South Carolina, that they was eating a lot of pork. Okay? Period, point blank. Mexico, they was eating a lot of pork. The whole world eats a lot of pork except Muslim countries. Okay? So is everybody stupid? Everybody didn't get the memo? You guys think that you figured out some new shit that, pork is bad for us, when the longest living people in the world eat pork? And I continue to point that out. That's why somebody say animal fats is good for the body. It is. And that's why I always ask people to please share. Okay? Please write your stories about your family members who made it to 95 and over, and tell me what they ate. And I bet you almost everybody's going to tell me they ate pork chops and bacon and eggs. Okay? And then you said every day, he is 84 and he can see better than me at 22. He is a plumber and he does physical labor. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Eyesight is vitamin A. Okay? You get that from eating eyeballs of animals. You get that from eating liver. And a lot of the younger generation is not given, liver anymore. Liver, cod liver oil, those things are high in vitamin A. right? And so that's important not just for your eyes, but it's important for your sexual development, okay? The development of your organs. Oh, you say he works to stay active and not because he has to. Yeah. And that's the thing. It's not just about going to the gym. It's about making physical activity a part of your life. This is the reason why I like living in the city, so I can walk around. I'm not trying to be in a car all day. It makes your body waste away. Somebody said, I wonder if it's because the meat wasn't processed like ours. You don't have to consume processed meat. The commercial food industry messes with the chickens, the pigs, and the cows. The commercial food industry, right? But you can get meat that's not from the commercial food industry. I get it in every state. Okay, you can go to the farmer's market. You can go to Whole Foods. You can get beef, chicken, and pork that doesn't come from the commercial food industry. That's number one. But number two, the commercial food industry does not touch goats. They don't touch deer. They don't touch rabbits. They don't touch coons, raccoons, which people eat. People ate frogs. I mean, people ate all kinds of animals, okay? Besides, people ate possum. I mean, you don't have to just eat chicken, pig. You can eat goat, lamb, deer, rabbit. You know what I'm saying? Possums, raccoons, whatever the hell else you want to eat. You know what I'm saying? You can eat other kinds of birds that's not chicken. All right? Chickens, pigs, and cows are not the only three animals that exist. And again, like I said, you can get them from a non-commercial food industry source. All right? So let's stop with that nonsense. So I just try to say that because as somebody who has been working with people, I don't just have book knowledge and been reading books and stuff like that. I'm a practitioner, and I have been working with people. I have been working with people for 20 plus years now. Okay. And when I work with people, it's very much in depth. I ask a lot of questions. I'm really going through what they're eating and their health. And I've seen so many people who have destroyed their body eating a plant-based diet, eating all these plants. So for me personally, I try to keep them at a minimum. I'm not going to go on a so-called carnivore diet. We are omnivores, but I do recognize that animal foods are way more important, way more nutrient dense. So I'm cautious about the plants that I eat, and I keep them at a minimum. You know what I'm saying? I keep them at a minimum. Now I just be eating bacon and eggs for breakfast. I don't even do the potatoes anymore, the grits. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'll have that once in a blue moon. You know, I was already the kind of person that couldn't eat pancakes and French toast and even brownies and cookies. When people eat that, it makes my stomach turn. Honestly, if I never had another brownie, another cookie, another piece of cake, another muffin, or a fucking donut for the rest of my life, I wouldn't give a shit. I would not, okay? But because I don't even like that anyway, it makes my stomach hurt. But if somebody told me you can't have any milk anymore, no, milk does my body good. I drink a lot of raw milk, okay? I go out of my way to drink raw milk, okay? I consume sour cream and good quality cheeses and good quality yogurts. Love me some eggs and butter, okay? Like, I don't even be wanting to go to countries that don't do dairy, okay? You know, and people got calcium either from raw dairy or from eating bones and anchovies or sardines or whatever, and eating other, you know, if you're of a certain age, you saw your grandparents chewing on some bones and eating the marrow out of it. There's nutrition in the bones, okay? Every culture makes some kind of bone broth. So below on my YouTube, because I'm on Instagram, but I'm going to repost this to my YouTube. I'm going to post a variety of articles and scientific sources, videos of scientists going through research, going through what I'm saying in more depth, so you can hear from other sources and not just me, and understand that this is something that's well researched and well documented, but you don't hear it because your doctors, they're not versed in nutrition, and they're being brainwashed by the pharmaceutical companies. Same thing with the people that have a background in nutrition and dietetics, okay? So there's very few people out here that's going to tell you the truth. Yeah, the bones. People consume bones, they consume blood, okay? People consume blood. Like, there are cultures in Africa that's putting blood over rice. You know, you got cultures that making blood sausage. These are things that you see in every culture in the world. Use of bones, use of blood, use of organ meats. Okay, some consume dairy, some didn't. And the ones that are by the sea consume lots of seafood. Okay? So I think I made my point. I'm going to end this video here because I'm hungry and I need to go. I got stuff I need to do today. I will, you know, I have more content on my subscription side of this page. Pig blood too. So tell me, does somebody in your family eat pig blood, and where are they from? Just let me know. What was I about to say? Oh yeah, my OnlyFans page. If people have some people have more questions, and people ask me questions when I'm doing this video. If you're on my OnlyFans page, onlyfans.com/The Body Scientist, there is a place where you can ask me whatever questions you want, and I'll give you in-depth answers. Because, you know, I'm not in the business of answering everybody's questions for free. And sometimes, some questions I have to go do a little bit of research as well, so I can give you an accurate answer. I don't speak on things I don't know. I don't just be talking, okay? I'm well-researched before I speak on things. And then another option is I'm always available for one-on-one training, one-on-one consultations and nutrition counseling. And it's crazy because when I go to people's houses, you know, even people, you said where you're from, most people eat pig blood. So where are you from? That's what I'm asking. But I go to people's houses, people that might have money, people that might be doctors and nurses. People that are just regular people, but they think they eat well. And all I see is crap in everybody's house. Everybody's using coffee creamer and almond milk and, cooking on non-stick Teflon or cooking on copper, which all that stuff puts toxins in your food. Like really bad. People are using microwaves. I don't even own a microwave, okay? The radiation that comes from a microwave is so intense. Not only does it mutate your food and kill all the nutrition, but it also makes it toxic. And it emits so much radiation that you need to get 100 feet away from the microwave when it's on, okay? Or it can freaking cause cancer. So you're from Trinidad and Tobago and they consume pig blood. Thank you for telling me that. I actually want to go to Trinidad and Tobago. That's like the next year. It's one of the countries I want to go to. I did not know they consume pig blood. Trinidad and Tobago. I don't know that much about Trinidadian food, but I didn't know they were big pork consumers because I know they're so heavily influenced by India, and India doesn't consume pork. But Jamaicans eat pork. I know Jamaicans, unless they're Rastas, and Rastas be looking sickly. Let's really be real. Okay, Rastas be looking dried out and weak. Those aren't the real tough warrior-looking, Mandingo-looking Jamaican men. They don't look like the Rastas, okay? The ones with the good skin and good teeth and, like, good bone structure, and they look strong, they're not the Rastas, okay? Any nutrient you throw out, I said vitamin C, but, like, there's things like vitamin A, vitamin D you can't get from plants. You can get vitamin K, vitamin E, vitamin C. The fats you need for your brain and your hormones and cholesterol, only in animals. There's nothing that's in plants that's not in animals in a stable form, okay? It's always more bioavailable in the animals. Even iron, there's heme iron and non-heme iron. Non-heme iron is the iron that's in plants. You could barely do anything with it, okay? It's the heme iron, the iron in egg yolks and red meat and liver and stuff that you can actually use. And so, no, I'm not in Vegas and I'm not in LA. I'm in Harlem, New York City. But I'm from New York, so I'm in New York often, okay? But I live in Chicago now. And so I'll be in Chicago, I'll be in New York, I'll be in DC. I travel a lot. Sometimes I'm in West Coast, wherever. I travel a lot, but I'm frequently in New York, DC. Probably will adding Philly more. And I do come to the West Coast. Haven't been to the West Coast in a few years. I come to the West Coast when I have a reason to, okay? I come anywhere when I have a reason to. I haven't been to the West Coast in some time. Maybe that will change in next year. I don't know. But I'm mostly on the East Coast and the Midwest, namely Chicago. And I'm trying to travel around the country more, just for different reasons. But I'm always available to work with people when I travel certain places. And I'm also available to work with people from a distance. And so I'm always looking at, like, I do videos everywhere I travel. I try to do videos on access to a healthy, active lifestyle, whether I'm in the country or out the country. Some places I haven't done it for, like I haven't done it for DC yet, and DC is like a second home. I have a lot to say about DC, but you can check those videos out. You can learn a lot if you watch my videos. So feel free to subscribe to my Instagram. Feel free to join me on my OnlyFans and ask me questions and learn more. Or if you want to work with me one-on-one, feel free to hit me up. I will be saving this video, reposting it to my YouTube. Be sure to follow me on YouTube, The Body Scientist 81. And on YouTube, be sure to follow me on Instagram at @_body. If you learned something from this video, please like it, please share it, and take care of yourself. And have a great day. And put your comments below about your family members who made it to 100. Tell me what they ate. Where are they from? I want to know. All right? So have a great day, people. Thank you for listening. And bye-bye.